Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the old range. You may notice that. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you'll recognize our surroundings. And we're out here today to do some testing with a self-defense tool. And it's offered by Byrna, and it is a non-lethal self-defense option. We're going to talk more about this device in today's video. We have a volunteer to be shot with this system. It comes with training projectiles that are biodegradable. It comes with pepper balls, and you can even get additional types of balls that are a mix of pepper and CS gas that the military uses. The gun comes as you see it packaged here with 2 CO2 cartridges, 3 containers full of projectiles, and then 2 magazines, one in the gun and one here. So we're going to talk more about this, its application, how somebody may want to use it, or why somebody may opt to use this versus a handgun or some other non-lethal device like a taser. But before we get started with today's video, guys, if you enjoy the content that we produce here at the Military Arms Channel, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. You can get direct access to me. I answer all private communications. You get early access to videos like the one you're watching right now. There is a link in the video description below. I encourage you to please come by and check out our family over on Patreon. With that being said, let's get started with today's video and have some fun with a self-defense paintball gun. All right, so let's start digging into this little pistol. Here you'll see the gun in the case. It has metal and polymer components. It has fire controls very similar to a handgun. You have an ambi safety lever. Up is safe, down is fire. It has what I would call a double action trigger pull. There is no slide to operate to load the gun. We'll show you the loading procedure here in a moment. It has this rubberized textured grip here, and it does fit my large hands. It's a rather large gun. Now the weapon is safe. And you know what, I'll just take a picture of the muzzle end for you guys. I don't want to point it at Jason, but it has a rather large bore, which could be intimidating if it was pointed at somebody, because it does look like a firearm when it's in your hands. Now this one's in flat dark earth. It has a magazine release in a typical location. Push the magazine release and your magazine comes out. So the magazine has this little lever on it, and this is integral to how the gun loads and feeds. To load this up, you can use any number of different projectiles. We briefly touched upon the projectiles in the opening of the video, but in here we have pepper spray or pepper agent in the balls here. The green balls are a training marker ball, so they're biodegradable. They'll leave a green mark on whatever they hit for training purposes. And then we have the CS and pepper balls available also on the website where you can purchase the pistol. So to load this, also I want to mention that they do offer a kinetic ball, and this one, I believe, is intended to inflict pain. It's not going to dust like the green balls will and leave a mark, a green mark. I believe that these are intended to inflict pain without the use of any type of chemical agent, either CS nor pepper. And then here's your green training balls that leave green marks on stuff, and again, biodegradable. Loading the weapon up. Okay, I have the magazine out, and there isn't a slide to pull back to check to make sure the weapon's empty. But if there was a ball in there, it's a smooth bore. I could shake it and that ball would fall out if it was just dropped into the barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and load it. It does have a loaded indicator here. So once I insert a full magazine, this will rise up and let you know that the weapon is loaded. Has fixed non-adjustable sights, conventional in nature, V-notch rear blade front. Okay, so to load it, you put your CO2 in the front, and these are small CO2 canisters. You can buy them from the website. Drop it in nose first. Well, I have to take my old one out. Drop it in nose first, and then screw this down snugly so that you can puncture the end of the CO2 cartridge to release the gas into the system. Don't overdo it. Just turn it until this thing is about flush with the end. Right there. And unlike a typical BB gun, you don't hear the as it loads the system. All right, there's no magazine in here. I'm just going to see if it's loaded. It is, so it has CO2 working. All right, now to load the magazine. Don't pull down on this because you'll release all the balls in the magazine. Just simply put a ball in and push it, and that little lever will flip over and capture the ball that you load in. Holds 5 rounds, and it has a loaded magazine indicator. Orange will tell you that it's fully loaded, but it holds 5 balls. You insert the ball into the gun, and as I do this, watch this little lever here on the top. See how it raised up a little bit? That lets you know that there's a loaded magazine now in the pistol. I've put the pistol on safe. Because it's basically a paintball gun, there isn't any recoil. It has a very heavy, what I would call a double action trigger pull. When you pull the trigger, it's going to push that little lever down on the magazine, release the ball into the system, and then when you complete the pull of the trigger, I'd say it's kind of like a 2-stage, kind of heavy, and then once you get past that heavy press, then it's a very light trigger, and it'll break and release the ball. So let's fire off these 5 rounds. All right, so 5 shots fired. I hit the tree about 10 yards away, and as you can see, that's how the gun functions. Very simple. All right, that's not why you guys are watching this video. Pad, come here, my friend. He's the reason you're watching this video. Pad works at Copper Custom. Pad is a military veteran and a good friend, and he has volunteered to be the subject of our pepper ball testing. So, Pad, thank you.
You're welcome.
Taking one from the team.
Happy to be here.
All right, let's do this. If you guys haven't checked out Primary Arms online, please swing by and check out their website. They have all sorts of inventory that ranges from firearms to accessories, really good prices, fast shipping, outstanding customer support. If you use the code MAC and you purchase a PA branded optic or red dot sight with a magnified optic, you'll get a free scope mount with that MAC code. Or if you pick up a red dot sight or a prism sight, you'll get a free kill flash anti-reflective device. So please check out primaryarms.com. We have a fresh CO2 canister in the pistol, and we have the 2 magazines that it ships with fully loaded with 5 balls each. We're going to be shooting them over the chronograph to see what the velocity is for each of the balls fired. Hopefully we'll get consistent readings, and then we'll get a better idea of those velocities as you go through the 2 magazines that ship with the pistol. All right, so it's going to be a total of 10 rounds fired, and here we go. Error. .213, 212, 202. All right, so the first 2 didn't register because I was too far away. It's going too slow for the chronograph. I'm inserting my second magazine of 5, 200, 198, 192, 188, 184, and I'm out. So that was on a fresh CO2 cartridge. The fastest we clocked it, and I can show you the image, is 240 feet per second. A regular paintball gun is right around 280 feet per second, so it's about 40 feet per second slower on a fresh cartridge in our testing. Now I fired those 10 rounds with the training balls. Let's see how much gas we have left in it. And that's it. So that gives you an idea of how many times you can reload the gun. I would say, practically speaking, we don't know at what velocity the balls will break just yet, but practically speaking, after 2 magazines, you're probably going to want to replace your CO2 canister. Loaded into the magazine, I have 1 green chalk round, if you will, the training ball. We want to see it make its mark on the tree. Then the next 3 rounds are the kinetic energy balls that have no chemical agent in them. Presumably those are to inflict pain to deter an attacker. So the first one, I just want to see what the ball does when it hits the tree. You can see it bust. Didn't really leave much of a green mark, but then again, the tree is kind of covered in bark. I can show you a mark on one of the steel targets we hit. Next 3 rounds are the hard balls that should be the kinetic energy balls. And let's see if I get hit with a ricochet. Wow. Okay, so right to point of aim, and unlike the green ball that hit somewhere over here, those kinetic energy balls were breaking into the bark of the tree. And we're only about 4 yards away from the tree. We have Pad down range, and he's about 7 yards away, and we're gonna hit him with a kinetic energy ball. This has no chemical agent. We're gonna find out how bad this hurts. All right, Pad, I'm sorry before I even fire this.
That felt good.
That
stings.
Dude, it stings?
That stings.
Okay, so I'm not gonna hit him with the second one. That one hurt, all right? I mean, I saw yeah, I'm not gonna hit him. I had a second one loaded, I'm not gonna do it to him. So the kinetic energy balls at 7 yards definitely inflicts some pain. So there you go. Now let's start playing with some chemical agents. This is where it gets really interesting. So Pad is now standing about, 3 or 4 yards away from me, and I have 5 rounds of the pepper balls loaded into the pistol on a fresh CO2 cartridge. I'm gonna fire 1 round and see what the reaction is from Pad, and then I'm gonna fire the remaining rounds in the magazine at him to see what effect that might have at this distance. So here we go. Pad, I love you like a brother. Forgive me. I saw pepper go around you.
Yeah, I got a good whiff of it.
Got a good whiff of it?
Yep.
Okay. Working?
It's working. Send them. Yeah, that's a good whiff of CS.
No, that's pepper.
That's pepper.
That's pepper.
That's pepper. A little bit of a tingle in the nose, watery eyes, no trouble breathing.
Okay.
I mean,
you're covered.
At this distance, I mean, the breakage was good.
Woo!
No problem getting it in my face.
You got
Definitely effective.
You're tearing up.
Definitely effective.
Okay.
Yeah, those are spicy.
All right. Yeah, I would. That's whoo. All right. Let's wipe some of that stuff off. Oh man, I can taste it now, just being close to you. So we're just trying to get the pepper off the vest, and you can see the dust. It is awful. One thing we noticed, like when he first got hit by it, man, when he first got hit by it, it was kind of a delayed reaction. It wasn't like an instantaneous, like really screwed him up. But if you look at him now, he's feeling it. Now I just touched the stuff. I'm trying to get it off the jacket, and just rubbing him and just smelling it immediately, it felt like I just ate like a pepper, right?
I'd say that was about a minute after.
Yeah.
2 minutes after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just holding his vest, I mean, and just trying to get it off. It was, I feel it in my nose, not nearly like you.
Yeah.
But I mean, just being in close proximity to you, I'm getting the effects of it. Not enough to deter me, but you're hurting, brother.
Yeah, sinus is definitely the worst, maybe eyes second.
Yeah, okay. So that was the pepper. Next, we have a vial of balls that contain both pepper and CS gas. Each vial that you order from their website will be 1 full magazine or 5 rounds. They'll come shipped with protective stuff in there to keep the balls from accidentally breaking during shipping. And then you'll have your full magazine of ammunition, and that's to keep it dry. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try not to drop these on the ground as I load them into the magazine. Again, just push straight down. If you push on the lever and try to assist, you're just gonna release all the balls out of the magazine. I've been exposed to pepper and CS, as has, I think, everybody here today. I think CS is far worse than pepper, and I'm not looking forward to inhaling what I'm about to shoot him with. All right, Pat, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Weapon is ready. We'll do 1 shot, see what happens, then I'll fire the remaining 4. Here we go. Can you sense a difference in the burn or the smell?
Nothing yet.
Okay, next 4.
Now I smell it.
Can you smell the CS?
Yeah, now I smell it.
Oh God, yep, it's there. Wow, that is not a pleasant smell.
No, it's not.
Okay, so eyes are just starting to water.
Okay. I don't feel much of a burn. I think the pepper burned much worse.
Think so?
Yeah, definitely more burn on the pepper.
So there's more burn on the pepper?
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of a delayed reaction, right?
Yeah.
First of all, we know the balls hurt when they hit, because
Yes.
we got a picture of the immediate aftermath of the kinetic ball.
Yeah,
and
they
these
definitely work.
Right?
They definitely
I'm
work.
starting to get the CS in my nose. But it seems like a full magazine dump is what's required for maximum effectiveness, because you're going to have the initial sting of the balls hitting.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a few seconds for the pepper to start working. But still, those eyes aren't watering as much as they were with the pepper.
I'm having some spice on my tongue,
Yeah.
but I definitely think that the pepper was a more miserable experience.
Okay,
Definitely a faster onset.
so there you guys go. I mean, if you're going to pick one of these up, having tested now the CS and the pepper, Pad, and I would agree, but I wasn't hit with it as hard as he was, the pepper seems to be more effective in how fast it comes on and starts the process of eyes watering, snot coming out of the nose, and deterring somebody potentially. The mix of the two perhaps are just too little of the agents in the balls to truly be that effective. So
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. What, 30, 45 seconds in now, I think the worst I've got is a little bit of stinging around my nose and on the tip of my tongue, but that certainly, other than the initial impact, probably wouldn't deter me.
So seems like the pepper balls are the way to go. So Pat and I were talking after we were kind of finishing up the video, and he wanted to give some more information about the effects that he felt from the pepper balls themselves as compared to the pepper CS mix. What were you saying?
I definitely feel like overall misery, the misery scale was higher from start to finish on the pepper balls. I feel like they had a more immediate onset. I was having a hard time seeing. My eyes were watering, almost to the point of just, I couldn't open them all the way. The CS gas, it did set on, but I think it took longer, and it just wasn't, it was more of an irritant than anything. I think as far as impediment, the pepper really did do the best job. I mean, it was the one that really made it hardest for me to kind of clear my vision, clear my sinuses, and get back to upright.
Right. Well, it was an interesting day testing out the pistol with the different types of agents. The most effective agent we found would be the pepper, at least in the experience of those present for today's testing. The CS and pepper mix didn't seem to have quite the same effect. Now, we both, Pat and I, will admit that after we started trying to clean the CS and pepper off the vest, nose started to run, became an irritant, started coughing, but that was much later after we had initially shot him. So why would somebody want something like this? And what benefit does it have? Well, using the pepper ball, if I was going to use this, I'd definitely go with the pepper ball route. On a fresh CO2 canister at 3 to 7 yards, we know from shooting Pad in the stomach, it hurts, and it's going to hurt bad. If you were to take aim and at 3 yards or so, it's accurate enough at the face of an attacker, it's really going to put the pain on them. But do I recommend something like this? This is something you're going to have to decide for yourself. Why products like this exist? There's many reasons, and I'll touch upon a few now. I live in a state where the use of deadly force is authorized under certain circumstances. We have fairly liberal laws, meaning that for me to use a firearm in self-defense, the threshold is I have to be in fear of death or serious bodily harm. I have no requirement to retreat. I can stand my ground. So my state is very self-defense friendly. That is not the case in all 50 states. Some states have must-retreat laws. Some states will prosecute you for using a handgun in self-defense, excuse me, even if it's a justified shooting. So there are some states that make it difficult or try to discourage the use of firearms for self-defense. Folks that want something other than a taser, this would be an option for them. There are folks out there that simply don't want to take another human life, don't want to carry a firearm. They're more inclined to use a deterrent like pepper spray or a product like this handgun or a taser. So this is who this would appeal to in the marketplace. The overall quality of the gun seems to be fairly solid. I mean, it's a well-made gun. It's function reliably. We've had no failures for it to fire. It gets, roughly 2 magazines out of a CO2 canister. You will have to pick up the short canisters from the company's website. The gun does have safety features on it. You have ambi-safety controls, and you have that, ready to fire indicator here on the top and rudimentary sights. This package that you see here retails for $399, comes with 3 different magazine loads of vials here. Again, each one of these has 5 rounds in it. So you're going to get pepper balls, green training balls, and then the kinetic energy balls that don't break, that are meant just to inflict harm, pain, I should say. And then you'll get your 2 magazines. And they have a starter kit for, I think, $349 that doesn't come with all this stuff for you also to try out. I'll put a link in the description below. I think it's okay by YouTube to do that. If you don't see the link, I'll put the URL in the video here, and just in case YouTube doesn't allow the link to a less than lethal product like this. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please thank Pad for volunteering to do this. It's been very interesting to see what a less than lethal device like this is capable of. I've always been curious myself. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here on YouTube, you can always mash that join button underneath the video player you're watching right now and support us here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. And last but not least, guys, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Thank you for 14 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon.